Reaper Games 293, back with another stream for you today. Today's stream is Dead by Daylight. As you can see, it says death is not an escape. So, and I apologize deeply because until I can get another cable for my hard drive, I cannot do any Call of Duty streams or AEW streams, but I am able to do this. So you guys are probably going to see a lot of this in the up and coming. This game is very, very different than any other. Alright. So we're just gonna scroll. All the way down. Alright, so we'll go over this game a little. Okay, so we're going to go over some of the basic things here. So here we'll go over the manual a little bit. So this is another full. I'm going to do a full description one, so you guys can see how this one works. In Dead by Daylight, you can take the role of an unstoppable killer and hunt 4 survivors, or play as one of the 4 survivors and try to make it out alive. Read this guide to learn the basics of the game. The guide is divided into 3 sections: the game, the killer, the survivor. Each section has information that will help you master whichever role you choose to play. Alright, so let's get this underway. I'm just gonna turn the volume up a little. Alright. So, asymmetry. Dead by Daylight is an asymmetric game. Each side in the trial has certain advantages and disadvantages. So, the killer is an unstoppable, solitary monster. Killers see the world from a first-person perspective, and that is true. When you are playing as the killer in this game, you are seeing it from the first-person view. They each have heightened senses, deadly weapons, and a unique power that helps them locate, chase, injure, catch, and hook survivors. The survivors are a team of 4. They can choose to cooperate or to look out for themselves. Though they are weak and vulnerable, survivors can use small sizes to quickly vault through windows, leap over pallets, or find hiding spots. The survivors have a wide third-person perspective, which gives them an advantage in situational awareness. So pretty much, guys, the way that it's starting out is this game is pretty much like Friday the 13th, and we're going to go to game goals. The game goals. The 2 roles have different goals. The survivor's goal is to escape the trial. In order to do so, they must find and repair 5 generators, and this is a pain in the rear end, but is what makes the game. Once they are repaired, the generators power 2 exit gates. Each gate has a switch that must be held for a short period of time before the gate will open and the survivor can escape. The killer's goal is to find and catch survivors in order to hang them or on sacrificial hooks to be consumed by the entity. If the endgame collapse is triggered, the killer will have the added goal of keeping the survivors within the trial until the timer expires. See the endgame phase section for more information. The Entity. So I never really did read much on this game, so this is actually really interesting for me. The Entity is the mighty, malevolent being that created the nightmare realm of trials in which the killer and survivors are trapped. Not much is known about the Entity, and it is rarely seen except for when it manifests to claim its sacrificed survivors. Some claim to have caught a glimpse of it in the deep, dark fog beyond the trial walls. It was probably just their eye playing tricks on them. So in other words, we really don't know what this Entity looks like. The endgame collapse. Okay, we'll go through this. The endgame collapse is the final phase of the trial and will occur in most of them if the required conditions are met. The timer, once the endgame game collapse is triggered, a 3-minute timer will begin counting down. The survivor must escape before the timer expires. Any survivors claimed by the Entity from the end game count as registered sacrifices for the killer. The timer will slow down if a survivor is put into the dying state or placed on a hook. Endgame collapse trigger conditions. An exit gate is opened. Killers may also open exit gates to force the endgame collapse. Okay, that's why the timer came on that one time back when I was playing this game. The hatch is closed. A spawned and open hatch can be closed by nearby killers starting the endgame collapse. Generators will be blocked by both the Entity and accessible once the endgame collapse begins. Both exit gates will be powered and available to open. Protocol map. The location of the trial is chosen by the Entity. Players can influence the Entity's choice by burning certain offerings. Trial locations have certain fixed landmarks, but elements such as a player's starting location, generators, chest, totems, and exits are placed according to the Entity's whims. Even the terrain itself shifts from trial to trial. Characters. In Dead by Daylight, there are 2 distinct roles to play and multiple characters in each role to choose from. Each killer has their own strengths and weaknesses and unique power, whereas survivors initially vary on their own appearance. However, every killer and survivor has 3 unique perks to unlock their blood in their blood web, which can eventually be taught to other characters. Every character comes with its own particular skill set, progression path, loadout, and customization options to fit your playstyle. Feel free to experiment. The loadout. Survivors can equip up to 1 item, 2 add-ons for their item, 4 perks, and 1 for offering. Killers can equip up to 2 add-ons for their power, 4 perks, and 1 offering. The power of the killer's instinct to that killer cannot be changed. Loadout options are unlocked throughout a progression system called the Blood Web by using currency known as blood points, which will be explained later on in this section of the guide. Survivors can equip themselves with a variety of useful items. There are items that can accelerate repairs, hinder the killer, heal on itself, or even allow survivors to escape the trial through a secret door. Survivors may equip 1 item per trial, and every item can be enhanced by selecting add-ons. For more information, please see the item in the survivor section of this guide. The loadout killer power. Each killer has unique power which dictates how they are meant to be played. Details about the killer's power can be found in the loadout and can be customized through add-ons. The killer's identity is hidden in the lobby, so survivors must adapt their strategies once they find out who they're up against in the trial. The loadout offerings. Offerings are selected in the loadout before the trial and are limited to 1 per player. Offerings are burnt at the beginning of the trial in order to influence the entity after, however, the game will be and alter how the game will be played. Offerings have various effects on the trial, such as increasing blood point rewards, increasing the amount of mist, or changing the number of chests that spawn in the environment. The loadout perks. Abilities obtainable by killers and survivors. They offer new ways to hide, to evade, hide, help others attack, catch and kill, or improve existing abilities. Equip the perks that fit your preferred strategy and playstyle. Perks are first found in the Blood Web at level 1. They can be improved by collecting multiple times in the Blood Web up to level 3. Progressing the Blood Web is the only way to unlock and improve perks. Depending on their Blood Web level, characters can equip up to 4 perks per trial. Alright. So, yeah. Unfortunately, we do have a lot to get through in this game. So, every killer and survivor has a set of 3 unique perks found in their Blood Web. At least level 5, 10, and 15 by leveling up further. Characters eventually master their unique perks and can teach them to other characters. These teachable perks are found in the Blood Web at level 30, 35, and 40. So you cannot learn to teach anybody these moves unless you are 30, 35, and 40 at levels. Once a teachable perk is unlocked, the corresponding perk can appear on the other character's Blood Web. Teachable perks can also be found throughout the Shrine of Secrets. Blood points are earned in trials and are used to unlock rewards in the Blood Web. Your performance in the trial determines the amount of blood points you earn. The survivors earn rewards in 4 categories: survival for staying alive, objectives for repairing generators and working towards escape, boldness for interactions with the killer, and altruism for helping the others survive. The killer has 4 categories: brutality for hunting survivors and destroying objects, hunter for finding, chasing, and catching survivors, devious for clever use of their powers, and sacrifice for their primary goal, hooking survivors to the enemy. Blood points are added to your Blood Web player's profile and can be used to mark on any character bloodline web. So the Blood Web, so each character, so I'm going to sum this up because this is a lot. So each character has their own Blood Web, which represents their level and general progress. Collecting all nodes on a web increases that character's level and generates new larger Blood Web at level 10. Although the maximum level is, so you can only go up to level 50 for your Blood Web. After that, you cannot go up any higher. But at level 50, the character is eligible for prestige. So just like you were to play the very, very first, I hate to compare this game to that because it's not, they're two different games, but it's like when you played the first Black Ops in Call of Duty, when you reached level 50, you automatically went to prestige. You didn't have to worry about going all these extra ranks. Ah, crap. Alright. Okay. So the status effects are positive or negative, applied to survivors and killers' status. Okay, so here's the main important thing. Yellow status icon indicates positive effects. Red status icons indicate negative effects. The intensity of the status is indicated by the number of chiffons on the icon. One chiffon indicates the weakness form on an effect, and the other chiffon indicates strong. A gauge surrounding the icon signifies the effect. The temporary effect is temporary and will be removed once the gauge timer is complete. Status effect list. Alright, so these are important. So Bloodlust it activates on a killer in a chase for a certain amount of time. Bloodlust increases the killer movement. So differ from Friday the 13th, from when I did the Friday the 13th video, where Jason, like I said, you see that in that video. Jason can teleport, he just can appear behind you. And here you actually have to increase your speed to actually run with the character, so there is no just popping up around the map. Like, you are in a kind of a small area, which you guys will see, but you have plenty of room of hiding. Undetectable. The killer enters a stealth mode, which suppresses their red stain and terror radius, and will block all survivors' aura reading abilities. Meaning, once he goes stealth, it's hard to find him until he's right behind you, which is really cool because they got to walk around and find you. They just can't really. And if you turn around and they're there, well, then that was just, you went the wrong way. This game is like a puzzle, so it's actually really fun. Oblivious. Okay, so I just kind of summed that up. So Oblivious, the survivor is oblivious to the imminent danger of a killer nearby. So what this means is they do not hear the killer's terror radius, and they are not considered as being within the terror radius for the power of the perk effects, which means you're oblivious to the killer. You're not gonna just. You're probably going to run into him by accident, not knowing you actually ran into him, until you're running to hide. Curse. The survivor suffers a secret penalty related to a hex totem. Cleansing the hex totem releases the curse. Endurance. The survivor is hardened and can resist a hit. So once the enemy tries to whack you, yeah, you can survive the hit. It's not like Friday the 13th where you're going to take like 2 or 3 hits and you're going to be down. Exhausted. The survivor cannot use movement speed abilities. The survivor recovers from the exhausted status effect after some time. Yes, so you do lose speed if you do run. Blood hemorrhages. Everything everybody likes to hear about when they're talking about, when we're playing horror. And yes, this is a horror survival game, if I didn't mention that. Hemorrhage. The survivor bleeds in great quantity, making them easier to track. So the more you bleed, the easier it is for the person who is playing as the killer to track you. Blindness. Character's aura detection is impaired, meaning you can't see anything around you. Madness. Okay. This game just drives you nuts in general. Even when you're just not put in your mind of the character. Madness. The survivor suffers various mental afflictions such as hallucinations. This game will drive a person playing it mad, who isn't even in the game, that is just playing the game. It'll drive them mad trying to find a way, because after a while you start running in circles. Mangled. The survivor is heavily injured and requires more time to be fully healed. Okay, I didn't see that. Haste. The character-based movement speed. The character-based movement speed is increased. Hindered. The character-based movement speed is decreased. Exposed. This is a pain. Especially when you're playing with people online and all they want to do is try to take your hiding spot. The survivors in Pearl, they can put into dying state with a single basic attack, even if they are healthy. Broken. The survivor is heavily damaged and cannot be healed past the injured health state, meaning you're at the oh shit point. In other words, to sum it up. The auras. Some effects unlock potential in one's aura abilities. Auras can be seen throughout the obstacles across long distances. Aura reading abilities are great for locating allies, enemies, and important objects. Certain highlighted elements in the environment are not considered aura reading effects, thus are not affected by the blindness status effect. Obsession. Some perks and add-ons can trigger obsession during gameplay. If this happens, one survivor is selected to be the killer's obsession for the trial. The killer and the survivor will see the entity's claws around the obsession status icon. The effect of the obsession depend on the perk and add-on triggered. Totem and hexes. There are 5 randomly positioned dull totems in each trial. Survivors can cleanse these totems for extra blood points. Some perks called hex perks will transform a dull totem into a hex totem, which can be identified by distinctive lit candles. Cleansing a hex totem will deactivate the associated hex perk and dispense its curse. Daily rituals are optional. Daily rituals are optional tasks that can be completed to earn extra blood points. Players can receive a new daily ritual every day and may have up to 3 at once. So, in other words, it's just like you enter this. I can compare it to a little bit. So, like if you enter Friday the 13th and it's giving you daily. I always called it the daily kills. So, but in here, Friday the 13th it'd be the daily kills or mission goals. This here is your daily rituals you have to do. So, no matter if you're the killer or you're the survivor, both of you can have 3 main goals of the day you got to perform, whether you're the killer or the survivor, and you can, like I said, you can have 3. Alright. The Shrine of Secrets. The Shrine of Secrets contains 4 teachable perks that can be unlocked with iridescent shards. Iridescent shards. Iridescent shards are gained by playing matches as either survivor or killer and increase your player level. The Shrine of Secrets, it updates once a week, so it's going to be something different each week. Proficiency indicators. Proficiency indicators will appear above the progress from certain actions. They indicate whether the current action is receiving benefits or penalties from such resources such as perks, items, or add-ons. Positive effects are displayed in yellow and negative ones in red. Proficiency indicator list. This is a short one. No, do not make a dirty comment on that either. Progression speed appears when the progression speed of the current action increases or decreases. Skill check difficulty appears when the skill check success zone for the current interaction increases or decreases. So if you see the progression speed, you're going to see the little like a skip arrow, and then you're going to see like a bell here. Skill check probability, which is like a little target, it looks like. Skill check probability appears when the frequency of skill checks for the current action increase or decreases, and then the lightning bolt in like a square or rectangle, whatever you want to call it. Efficiency appears when the consumption rate of the current item increases or decreases. Chance, which is luck, like four-leaf clover, clear as day, appears when the probability of succeeding in the current action, such as escaping a trap, increases or decreases. Oh God, the archive. That's the annoying little eye that pops up when the enemy is close. The archive contains two features that reward your ability with trials: Tomes and Rift. Tomes have an Aris web of challenges to be accepted and be complete. Most challenges can be completed across multiple trials. The Master Challenge must be done in a... Oh boy. So if you want to do the Master Challenge, it has to be done in a single trial. It cannot be done 2 times. If you go to complete the trial once, you're gonna get the master trial completed. But if you go to do it, if you say you die, come back and try to do it again, you're not gonna get it. It's pretty much like a straight shot, grab and go. Completed challenges earns blood points and unlocks entries in the collection, providing stories about the Dead by Daylight characters. Alright, so this is important. When a new tome is released, the Rift will open temporarily, featuring rewards that can be unlocked by collecting Rift fragments. These fragments can be earned by collecting XP and completing challenges in active tomes. So when you pick up these fragments, guys, it also gives you XP, which is actually really nice. The archive. So we talked about the archives, we're talking about the tomes now. New tomes are regularly added to the archives. Each tome is released with one level of challenges, and further levels of becoming accessible over time. Once a new level is available, it can be accessed by reaching the epilogue of the previous level. You can accept one challenge at a time. Most challenges can be completed in multiple trials and will reward blood points. Master challenges must be completed in one trial. Notice how I said they must be completed in one trial. I didn't say in 2 trials, 1. Meaning this is the state of the arc, whether you get it or you lose it. But at the same time, if you get this in one trial, they will offer greater rewards and occasionally unlock entries in the Tomes collection. The collection is a window into the stories of the Dead by Daylight characters, containing memories, logs, and animated sequences. If there is an open rift The challenges in the current tomb will also award rift fragments. These fragments unlock tiers of rewards for the rift. Crap. Alright. So we're at the final one on this, which is the archives. We went through the whole list, and we're only... So rifts contain rewards for both killers and survivors. Rift fragments increase your tier in the rift and unlock more rewards. When a rift is open, rift fragments can be collected by earning XP and completing challenges. The rift is split into 2 tracks, a free track and a premium track. Rewards on the free track are playable to all characters, while those on the premium track are only available to players who have unlocked the Rift Pass. The Rift Pass can be unlocked by spending Arc cells. If you have the Rift Pass, you can also use these cells to immediately unlock more tiers on the Rift. When the Rift closes, your progress and pass are reset, and the next rift will start at tier 1. Alright, so here's the controls. We'll start out by going over the controls, because apparently when I did the controls and stuff for Friday the 13th and did the whole basic intro to one of these games, it started getting a lot of views because I was telling people how to actually play the game, which will be a little bit more. So to move forward, you're going to move your LS button, which is the one that I'm currently moving over here, because the one closest to me is your R3. L1 is the run, L2 is the crouch. Interactions, so this is like your weapons and stuff. You're going to use item is R2, to drop item is circle, pick up is R1. Okay, so the best way to describe this is, if you're, say, for people that have played the wrestling games, like you're going to go under the ring and grab a weapon, R1 would be the one to interact with the weapon, so that's actually really easy. Secondary... okay, so actions are both. So to pick up and interact, R1. Actions are R1. Secondary action, skill check, that's L1, which is right next to the R, which is to the left on the controller. Hook struggle, X. Activate ability, which is X. Camera, RS. And then the turn, look up and down. And then your gestures point at up on the D-pad, down on the D-pad. And then of course you got your headphone, you got your basic settings. We're just gonna hit close and save on that. Oh, there's more. Okay, so I actually get to run through a tutorial with you, a tutorial video, which is something I don't usually get to do with these games, because these games just usually throw you right into the game. So there's 2 tutorials. We're gonna go through the 2 tutorials, which the first one we're going to do is the survivors, so you guys know how to play as the survivors, and the second one is going to be the killer, and then we're going to go through the other stuff that they have. So, alright. Okay, so R1 is the repair. This is just a tutorial, guys. This is not the main gameplay. This is the one thing that will make you... Oh, and this game will make you jump, so be prepared to have a lot of jumps when you play this game. Okay, so... Alright. We gotta time it just right. Got it. So as you guys saw, it was L1 to play that little mini game there. Okay, so apparently you gotta play this minigame a couple times. Okay, I'm just saying I would hate to have to do this in an actual match. That's why I don't usually mess with them. So this is just giving us basic movement walkthrough. We get blood points just for completing the tutorial. That's actually a nice kind of feature to get to start. To be honest, oh boy. Alright, how to win. We're just going to go over the basics on how to win. Repair 5 generators to power the 2 exit gates. Open one of the 2 exit gates by holding down its switch and leaving the area. Meanwhile, the killer will be trying to locate you and catch you. Locate, catch, and hook survivors in order to sacrifice the entry. Survivor has 3 health states: healthy, injured, and dying. As a survivor, here's what each health statement means to you. Healthy, survivors start the trial in the state. Taking damage while healthy puts survivors into an injured state. Injured, survivors will bleed and grunt, making it easy for them to track. Dying, while dying, a survivor's movement is limited to a slow crawl. A crawling survivor has 2 options: recover as much health as they can, or crawl to find help. Without the aid of specialized perks, survivors cannot recover fully. Dying. The killer downed and you are left you to crawl in the dying state. It's not over yet. While dying, survivors slowly bleed out. The bleed out progress can be seen below player's status icon. Dying survivors can see ours of their teammates and vice versa. Without the aid of a specialized perk, a survivor cannot recover fully on their own. They will need to find another survivor to finish healing them. Oh boy. Scratch marks. Running is louder than walking, but the real downside to running is the trail it leaves behind. These scratch marks can only be seen by the killer. They disappear for a few seconds, but they can lead the killer straight into running survivor. Loud noise. Some actions, such as window vaults, can be performed quickly or slowly, depending on whether the run button is held. Wishing these actions create a loud noise signal the killer may see, hear, be aware. Bloodstains. Injured survivors leave a trail of blood visible to all players. Survivors bleed regardless whether they are awakening or running. Bloodstains disappear after a few seconds. Crows. Crows are servants of the entity. Survivors who startle them or get too close will cause them call loudly and take flight, which can trip off an attentive killer. Failed check skills. A failed check will create a loud noise signal for the killer. Be very careful failing a skill check. Meaning that minigame that I just failed twice during the tutorial, if that happens in a game, it means you can have a possibility of being killed. Consult the killer section of this guide for more information. Most killers are quiet and large. So, the survivors do have an extra. They have a few extra advantages compared to the killer. So the nice thing about the survivor is it's in a third-person mode, so it's easier to see around you. And it's easy to look around. Like I said, pretty much this right here, third-person view, sums up as to it's easier to see around your corners and every which way. So pretty much every camera angle to see, it's easier. The terror radius. The killer's approach is signaled by a heartbeat. Meaning, as the killer gets closer, the heartbeat rate is going to go faster. So, it gives the survivor the chance to determine how far the killer is away. And the stain. The stain is an eerie red light emitted in front of the killer. It is especially good for quickly determining where the killer is looking. If you are in a chase and see the stain bathing your character in its red glow, don't panic. It's too late. Skill checks. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. A good skill check is pressed when the red line is within the outlined zone known as a good zone. So that mini game, if you're out of that zone like I did the first two times, luckily that was only a tutorial, not the real game itself. It's going to cause a big boom, and the person playing as the killer is going to hear you. The great skill check. The button is pressed with a red line and is within a zone known as the great zone. A great skill allows the action to resume and grants a small bonus towards its progress. So it's going to reward you with something, whether it be XP or whatnot, probably XP. So this is where what I was talking about. I failed. So to sum it up, the failed skill check is it is out of the good or great zone. So that's like me failing that mini game. That's what that meant. So this is saying that, yeah, you have to turn on 5 generators, but each of the 5 generators randomly spawns in somewhere, so you don't know where they're going to be. Killer. So the killer patrol. Killer can see the R's of unrepaired and partially repaired generators. That's the one bad advantage survivors have. Meaning the killer can see when someone's there repairing it or in the middle of repairing it. Skill checks should be listening out for the skill check audio cue while repairing generators. Careful repairs. Repairing a generator takes time and it makes noise that can attract the killer. Survivors need to be on their guard. It is a good idea to plan one more escape route in case the killer approaches. Holistic actions. Healing. Survivors can heal each other even without a med kit. Fair. I like that. Rescue. Survivors can rescue each other from the killer and can unhook to prevent the sacrifice from happening. Okay. This gets a little bit annoying after a while. Especially when you're playing as a killer and you have like 2 or 3 people on these racks, and you have that one guy that just wants to run around the map whole time, doesn't want to get caught, keeps jumping in and out of windows. Believe me, I've seen it. When you play Friday the 13th, you see it. Unsafe hook rescue. So unsafe hook rescue. The unhooked survivor is down within 10 seconds following the rescue attempt. Shoulder rescue. Survivors can attempt to blind or stun the killer to make them drop a carried survivor. Though it is possible to play and escape a lone wolf, it can prove more difficult at once than other survivors. Searching chests. Searching trials. Chests can be found during trials. They can contain helpful items such as medkits, toolboxes, and flashlights. Searching a chest is a somewhat noisy action that can be completed fairly quickly. An open chest has already been looted, is usually empty. That's common knowledge, guys. If you play any game, usually if a chest is open, it is usually it's empty because someone already looted it. Sabotage hooks. These hooks are found around the map, but not in the basement. They can be temporarily disabled by sabotage. A sabotaged hook cannot be used by the killer until it is repaired by the entity. So therefore, if a survivor destroys a hook and sabotages it, it means they cannot use it. Cleansing totems. Cleansing is a specific interaction performed on totems. Cleansing a totem destroys it and disables any hex that was assigned to it. Cleansing does not require any perks or items. These actions generate a great deal of noise and will notify the killer when they are complete. Cooperative action. Certain interactions can be accelerated through cooperation, including healing and repairing. Cooperation, however, comes at a cost. As a large group, it can be easier to spot the killer and generate more movement opportunity for failed save checks that could endanger the entire group. Chases. When the killer gets too close, it's time to run. Here are some things to keep in mind about the chase. Killer speed. The killers are faster than the survivors and gain even more speed due to bloodlust. Consult the status effect section of this guide for more details about bloodlust. Vault. Survivors can vault over windows, pallets very quickly. Killers traverse these obstacles slowly so they can be used by survivors to gain distances. Break line of sight. To survive a chase, a survivor should not try to break a line of sight and head in the direction the killer does, and head in the direction a killer does not anticipate. Pallets are the object the survivors can throw down. Okay, this is just telling me background downloaded of all game modes, new modes of play are now available. Alright, so that means I can actually enter the actual gameplay. We'll do the final tutorial so you guys know, though. Pallets are objects the survivors can throw down in order to put an obstacle between themselves and the killer. Killer can be stunned by dropping a pallet on them directly. Pallets can only be dropped once, in which they are vaulted over. Keep these points in mind. It will help you make it out of the chase alive. Okay, exit gates. When 5 generators have been repaired, the exit gate power-up becomes accessible. Their positions will be temporarily revealed to the survivor to open the gate. Its switch must be held down for a few seconds. This crucial movement as survivors are exposed and vulnerable during this time. The good chance the killer will head straight for one of the exits as soon as they become powered. Once the gate is open, a survivor can go through it and escape. Survivors may also choose to stay in the trial and help other survivors escape, but the end game collapse will require they will have a timer for it to expire, or else the entity will take them forcefully. Risk of staying for others' need is a great way to earn more. Wiggling. In order to sacrifice a survivor, the killer must pick them up and transport them to his sacrificial hook. During this time, the survivor can wiggle and hinder the killer's movement in an attempt to escape the grasp. A successful grasp can escape and put a survivor right back on their feet and stun the killer briefly, giving them the chance to escape. The ultimate goal of the killer is to sacrifice survivors to the entity. Summoning phase. In this phase, the entity is being summoned to the hook and takes some time to manifest. Hook survivors can be rescued or attempted to free themselves from the hook. These attempts have a 4 chance of success and failure. Accelerate the summoning point. Struggle phase. Once the entity has manifested itself around the hook, survivors can no longer attempt to free themselves. Sacrifice phase. The entity will eventually overpower a hook survivor and devour them. The hook itself is destroyed at the end of the sacrifice sequence. A survivor who is rescued or escapes from the hook will progress to the next phase next time they are hooked. For example, a survivor who was freed in the summoning phase will progress immediate to struggle phase, which next time they are hooked. Items and add-ons. Some survivors have access to a variety of useful items. Only items can be equipped in the loadout. It can be customized with up to 2 item add-ons. The item use is limited to the amount of charges in which indicated to the next bar. An item is used during the icon to suspense and retain the hatch. Okay, so I didn't find this when I was going through here. I'm going to do some more digging around on YouTube myself about this stupid hatch, because I've personally never seen this hatch. I don't know where it's at. The hatch is a secret door that offers an alternate way for the survivor to escape. The hatch appears mysteriously and is usually locked. A survivor with a skeleton key can open the hatch for themselves and their fellow survivors. The hatch will also open in the event that only one survivor remains in the trial. Killers can close an open hatch and trigger the endgame collapse. Ooh. That's pretty risky, guys. Jesus God. How to win. I guess we'll go okay, we're already an hour in and I'm just still explaining the game. In order to achieve this objective, a killer should do the following: patrol the area and find survivors, just like you do with Jason when you play Friday the 13th in Crystal Lake. Carry survivors to Sacrificial Hook and hang them there for the entity to consume. Meanwhile, survivors will be attempting to repair 5 generators to access the 2 exit gates. Patrolling generators. There are 7 generators in a typical trial. Try to find an efficient patrol routine to protect them. When the trial begins, the first thing most killers will try to do is locate some survivors. Survivors must repair generators to escape killers. If the survivor manages to repair 5 generators or the endgame collapse is triggered, the exit gate will regain power and may be open, allowing the survivor to escape. Once the endgame collapse begins, all generators will be blocked off by the entity. Damage generators. Killers can damage generators that have been partially repaired by getting close and performing the damage generator action. This will cause the generator repair process to degrade over time. A generator that is losing progress can be identified by fiery sparks at the emits this obsession. This regression is cancelled when the survivor resumes repair. Okay, so again with the end game, when the end game begins, all unrepaired generators become locked and cannot be damaged further. Loud noises. The entity has granted its killer enhanced senses and the ability to pinpoint survivors who make noise. So basically when you make loud noises, it's easier for the killer to find you. And when a survivor fails a skill check or rushes an action, killers receive a visual loud noise signal. So they have enhanced hearing. Running survivors leave tracks only the killer can see. The tracks last a few seconds before they fade. If you guys want to read this, you guys can always check this out on the video too, instead of hearing me go through it. Sounds of the Wild. A skilled killer notices any noises that made nearby survivor. Try to listen out for heavy breathing, footsteps, cracking branches, calling crows, or the sound of the survivor actions such as healing or sabotage. Bloodstains. Another way for killers to track survivors by following bloodstains they leave behind while injured or dying. So if a survivor is dying or injured, the killer can track them to put them up on the hook. When survivors are located by the killer, they use, just like in Friday the 13th, they generally attempt to run and hide. Most killers are faster than a survivor. The killer's goal is to keep track of fleeing survivor and get close enough to land a devastating hit. Bloodlust. As the chase progresses, killers develop boiling bloodlust. Bloodlust is a status effect that grants the killer increased speed and becomes stronger and longer. A chase continues a maximum of level 3, indicated by 3 chiffrons on the status of the effect icon. See the status effect guide in this section of this guide. Vaulting is the action of going through a window or over a pallet. Survivors can vault a window slowly and quietly or quickly and loudly by running most windows and surviving only. Survivor hits. Survivor health states. So, healthy is the health state in which a survivor starts. Attacking a healthy survivor puts them in an injured state. Injured. Even though they limp, injured survivors have the same movement speed as when healthy. So pretty much it doesn't matter if you're injured or what. If you're healthy or you're injured, you still have the same health. Still the same stamina, so it don't matter for running. Survivors in the dying state can only... So if you're in a dying state, you can only crawl and are able to interact or complete objectives. However, they're still able to escape if they can crawl to a hatch or open an exit gate. Wow. That's okay, a little bit more challenging. The quick attack is performed by simply activating the attack interaction as the name implies. The lunge attack is performed by holding down the attack interaction it provides greater. Missing attacks triggers a short cooldown, which the killer's speed is reduced to escape. Hitting a healthy survivor grants them a brief burst of speed. Interrupts. Many survivor actions can be interrupted, giving a killer a free grab to pick up. Injured survivors can be interrupted while vaulting. Lunge attacks do not trigger interrupts. Once a killer catches a survivor, their next goal is to carry them to the sacrifice hooks. While being carried, the survivor can wiggle and attempt to break free. Their struggle will affect the killer's movement. The survivor will succeed and escape the killer's grasp. Watch out for the survivor transporting a victim. Okay, so we're just pretty much on the lookout there. Okay, so I'm not going to go over the whole summoning phase and this and that again, because I went through that one already. I don't know why it's giving it to it again. Disabled hooks can be destroyed under any circumstance. Sabotage survivors can use tools or perks to destroy hooks, making them unusable. Sacrifice. A successful sacrifice destroys the hook that was used. The entity will repair the sabotaged hooks after a few minutes. The basement, which is the chamber. Every level features an underground chamber called the basement. Survivors should fear being hooked there, as it is not an easily accessible location, and features only one way in or one or out, making rescues particularly risky. Though it can often prove difficult to carry a survivor to the basement before they escape the killer's grasp, it is an attractive location to perform a sacrifice where other hooks can be sabotaged. In the central basement, hooks cannot be disabled or destroyed. So it's actually an easy way to pretty much get everybody for the sacrifice. The gates. If survivors manage to repair 5 generators, the 2 exit gates become accessible. If this happens, the exit locations are shown to the players. Okay, I'm just gonna, read that up there, because I pretty much went over a lot of this already. For some reason it repeated with this. Memento Mori. Memento Mori are killer-specific offerings which influence the entity, allowing killers to kill survivors with their own hands instead of sacrificing them. That's actually really cool. So you can actually cause the unseen force or whatever to pretty much have rage and have them kill one another. That's really cool. Powers and add-ons. Killers cannot charge their power. However, they can customize it. Killers may equip up to 2 power and add-ons loadout before the trial and have a various. At the end of the trial, any add-ons that were equipped are consumed. Okay, so yeah. Alright, so that was pretty much going on all over that. So we're gonna load up the killer tutorial so we can actually go through the whole tutorial, and then I will get into one. I will do one actual game mode of this. So I'm actually gonna go to the PlayStation. I'm gonna go to the PlayStation Store. Alright. Okay. Okay, that was that easy. So it looks like the killer one's gonna be a lot easy. Injured health state. This guy. All right. That was easy. That was actually the easy tutorial. You had to destroy one generator and just. Let's actually get to the actual gameplay of this. I'd like to take you guys through the... This is what I wanted to show you guys. So... each person has their own... Each character... There's a whole bunch of killers you can select. Trapper is easy. And they each have different the difficulties. The Wraith is intermediate. The Hillbilly is easy. The Nurse is hard. This one's called the Hag. She's intermediate. The Doctor's easy. The Huntress. Alright, so you guys know, I am gonna get the packs for this because I want the Death Slinger, I want the Plague, the Ghostface, I want the Demigorgon because I'm a big fan of of Stranger Things. The Ani, the Legion, he's just downright creepy. The Spirit's cool. The Clown. The Pig is from Saw, so that's a really cool character. And then you got the Shape, Michael Myers. Okay, the Nightmare is Freddy Krueger, and the Cannibal is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we're going to switch to Survivors. Because I don't know what we have for Survivors. Alright, so we have... Okay, that's a little odd. His name is Dwight Fairfield. We got Meg Thomas, Claudette Morrill, Jake Park, got Nia Carlson, Ace Venesotti, William Bill Overbeck, Feng Ming, David King, Aziz Carr, Yuri Kimmer. Okay, Steve, it comes with the Stranger Things pack, that I know for sure. You get Steve and Nancy, which is awesome. You get Ash from Ash vs. Evil Dead, Jane Romeo, Jeff Johnson, Quentin Smith, Detective Trap, Kate Denson, Adam Francis. So, nah, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so we're actually going to go back. So, the first thing I'm going to do is... I don't know what just happened, guys. Okay, cool. That was weird. Yeah, it's only 11, so... We're gonna go to... Dead by Daylight. This is the special edition, so... It's usually... If you guys really, really want this game to play it, it's $14.99. It's $15 for this game. I got it for free because it was a PlayStation Plus at one point. And... So... We're gonna... So all your packs are... Oh. Depending on what you get... So, Scream is $2.49. Ash from Ash vs. Evil Dead, Ash is $2.49. so you can get the Demise of the Faithful chapter, which is $3.99. Darkness Among Us, which is $3.99. The Charity Case, which is $4.99. Shatter, which is $3.99. The rest of it's mainly just some of them are point packs. Curtain Call, which is the Clown, is $3.99. The Saw chapter, which is $3.99. Head Case, $3.99. Okay, so the Lullaby is actually free for the chapter. You get the Halloween, which is Michael Myers. Leatherface, $2.49. You get the Nightmare on Elm Street, which is Freddy, and Stranger Things is $8.39, and then you get the Cursed Legacy chapter. I really wish there was a season pass for this, because I think the season pass would do really well. So we are gonna play. So this is sweet. Oh, you get the Huntress. Does every killer have something cool? I want to see some here. Okay, guy. Okay, you get something cool for each. Oh, the hillbilly. The hillbilly's really fun to play as too. Just so you guys know, and he's actually one of the evil. The scarecrow version of him. You got the rancher's hat and vest. He's really fun to play as. I'm just seeing what. The nurse is a pain in the ass, guys. And you got the old classic linen pillowcase or the plague mask, which is something. I want to check out the doctor is just creepy. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna play as the killer to start. I'm gonna do one match. This I like a little bit better because it's not out of random. You get to decide who you want to play as, whether you want to play as the survivor or the killer. I do like the way this game mode is set up, though. I think tonight I'm just gonna do one game. Alright. I'm just gonna... Alright, there it'll show you some of what to do when you first come into the game. Alright, so this is the one that I promised you guys. I did promise you Dead by Daylight. I did promise the stream. I actually want to get back into this game a little more because the first time I played it, I was just kind of frustrated with all of it. So I was just like, you know, I really don't want to play this. But now I want to really want to get into this game because this game is really fun. Alright. Piece of shit. Hello, asshole. Alright guys, that was actually really, really fun. Because the guy I wound up grabbing off of the hook wound up getting brutalized in the end. So, that was the... let me double check before... Okay, so apparently this is the tomb area. Alright. So we got... So, I think we're gonna end off on this tonight, guys, because I went through a lot with this game. We'll pick more back up tomorrow, and tomorrow I will play as both the killer and the survivors, but I think I'm done for the night. So I'm done with the gaming for the night, so remember, be the difference, and I will talk to you. I will see you guys in the next stream. Peace.